What if the moment your whole life changes is the moment you are least expecting anyone at all? The last light of the Montana evening turned the sky red as Samuel Ward stepped onto his porch. Dust covered his boots, and loneliness sat heavy on his shoulders after another long day on his ranch. He was reaching for the water bucket when he froze. A figure swayed at the far edge of his land, a slim shape barely visible in the fading sun. Before Samuel could call out, the woman fell forward, sinking to the ground as if all her strength had been taken in a single breath. Samuel's heart pounded. His ranch sat miles away from anyone. People did not simply walk through the plains and collapse at a stranger's gate. He ran toward her, each step faster than the last. When he reached her, he knelt down carefully. "Madam," he said, keeping his voice low and calm, "can you hear me?" She didn't move. Dirt streaked her face. Dried blood marked her forehead, and her dress was torn, as if she had struggled through brush or rough hands. When Samuel touched her skin, he felt heat rising from her like she was burning from the inside. Fever, strong and dangerous. He looked around the empty land. No horses, no wagons, no footprints, no one else. Just this broken woman and the shadow of night pulling across the plains. Samuel made his choice in a heartbeat. He slid his arms under her and lifted her. She was lighter than he expected, her head resting against his chest. "You're safe now," he whispered, though he doubted she could hear a word. Inside the cabin, he laid her gently on his bed. His home was small but solid, built with his own hands after the war. He lit the oil lamp, washing the room with warm light. For the first time, he saw her clearly. She was young, early 20s maybe, with chestnut hair tangled from wind and struggle. She had bruises on her arms and a deep exhaustion carved into her face. Samuel fetched a bowl of water and a clean cloth. He cleaned the dirt from her skin, revealing the angry cut on her forehead. He checked her for broken bones, grateful when he found none. The bruises worried him, but the fever worried him more. "What happened to you?" he asked softly, though she still did not answer. He covered her with a blanket and placed the cool cloth on her forehead. Then he pulled a chair close to the bed and sat. He would not leave her alone. Hours passed slowly. The cabin creaked. Coyotes howled far away. Sometimes she whimpered, and Samuel refreshed the cloth, hoping her fever would break. He kept trimming the lamp so the room stayed dim and calm. It was well after midnight when she finally stirred. "Water," she whispered. Samuel sat up fast, lifting her gently so she could drink. She sipped shakily, swallowing like she had not tasted water in days. "Easy," he said. "Take your time." Her eyes opened, brown and full of fear. "Where am I? Who are you?" "My name is Samuel Ward," he answered. "This is my ranch, about 20 miles from Hollow Creek. I found you at my gate at dusk. You're safe here." She blinked slowly. "Sophia Miller." "Miss Miller," Samuel said softly, "do you remember how you ended up on my land?" Quote. She closed her eyes as if the answer hurt her. "I was running," she whispered. "They were after me." "Who was after you?" Sophia swallowed hard. "Men from Blackwater. I can't go back there." Samuel felt something tighten in his chest. Blackwater was known for trouble. A mining town filled with men who did what they pleased and answered to no one. "You don't need to go back," he told her. "You're safe here." Her face softened with relief before sleep pulled her under again. By morning, her fever had broken. Samuel checked on her between chores, relieved to see color returning to her cheeks. When she woke again, she was clearer, stronger. He brought her water and a bowl of broth. "Think you can eat?" he asked. She nodded, trying to sit up. Samuel helped her, tucking pillows behind her. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't found me." "No need to think about that," he replied. "You're here now." She ate slowly, her hands still shaking. "I've taken your bed," she realized. "Where did you sleep?" Samuel pointed to the chair. "Right there." "You stayed with me all night?" she asked, surprised. "I couldn't leave you alone," he said. "Not with that fever. And not when someone was chasing you." Sophia looked down at the bowl in her hands. I should explain. When you're ready, Samuel said gently. There's no rush. When she finally told her story, Samuel listened in silence. She had come west from Philadelphia to teach school in Blackwater. She had wanted purpose, independence, a chance to make a difference. But the town had been rough, harsher than she ever expected. Then EMTT Grayson, the richest man in town, decided he wanted her. When she refused him, he tried to force himself on her. She fought him off and fled. He sent men after her, telling the town she was a thief. I've been running for days, she said, hiding during the day, walking at night. I didn't think I'd make it much farther. Samuel shook his head slowly. 3 days alone in this country is no small thing. She gave a tired smile. Determination is powerful. So is fear, Samuel replied, studying her face. But you're safe now, Sophia. She met his eyes. Because of you. The morning sun shone through the window, warming the small cabin. In the quiet of that moment, neither of them realized how deeply their lives had already begun to change. The next few days brought warmth back into Sophia's body and color back into her face. She no longer looked like the broken woman who had collapsed outside Samuel's gate. Instead, she sat by the window wrapped in a blanket, watching the plains stretch out wide and open, watching Samuel move across his land like a man who belonged to every inch of it. He worked from dawn until dusk, steady and sure, tending the horses, mending fences, checking the cattle. From her place near the window, Sophia could see the strength in him, but also the gentleness, the way he spoke softly to the horses, the way he paused to listen to the wind before deciding his next task. A man, carved by hardship, but not hardened beyond repair. On the 4th day, she stepped outside for the first time. Samuel looked up from the fence he was fixing, surprise and concern mixing on his face. Should you be walking? Around yet? Quote, I'll lose my mind if I stay in that bed any longer, she said with a small smile. Besides, the air feels good. Only if you sit and rest, he warned, pointing to a stump near him. She obeyed, wrapping the blanket tighter. The air smelled of sage, and the wind kissed her skin gently. Your ranch is beautiful, she said. Samuel hammered a nail into a post. Been here 4 years now. Claimed it after the war. You fought? She asked quietly. Union cavalry, he answered without looking up. Joined in, 62. Fought to the end. His voice tightened, the kind of tightness that comes from memories a man wishes he could forget. Sophia nodded slowly. My father fought too. He never came home. Samuel paused, looked at her, softened. I'm sorry. As I am for your losses, she replied. Something passed between them then. Quiet understanding, shared grief, and something tender beginning to grow. Over the next days, Sophia insisted on helping. She cooked, she mended. She added touches to the cabin that made it feel warmer. Fresh wildflowers in a jar, small curtains she stitched from spare fabric. You don't need to be doing all this, Samuel said one evening. I'm not helpless, she replied gently. Doing nothing makes me feel like a burden. You're not a burden, he said, surprising himself with how firm the words sounded. Not one bit. Their evenings became Samuel's favorite part of the day. After supper, Sophia would read from the few books he had. Practical ranch guides or poetry his mother once loved. Her voice smoothed the rough edges of the day, and Samuel often found himself watching her more than listening to the words. One evening he finally said, You read beautifully. Your students must have loved learning from you. She smiled. I miss teaching. Hollow Creek doesn't have a school, does it? Quote, No, Samuel said, but folks been talking about needing one. Kids around here learn what they can at home. Sophia's eyes lit with hope. Maybe I could teach here. Quote, Maybe you could, Samuel agreed, liking the idea more than he expected. 2 weeks after she'd arrived, Samuel finally had to go into town for supplies. I'll be back before sundown, he promised at breakfast. You sure you'll be all right? I'll be fine, she said, though she squeezed her hands together under the table. Before leaving, he showed her how to use the Winchester rifle. She listened carefully, her hands still unsteady but her gaze firm. Better safe than sorry, Samuel said. just in case anyone comes by. I'll be careful." When he rode out, the ranch felt too quiet. Without his footsteps, his voice, his presence, the cabin seemed colder. By early afternoon, she heard a horse. Not Samuel's. Her heartbeat quickened. She stood behind the door and gently lifted the rifle. Through the window, she saw a middle-aged man with a mustache, weathered clothes, and a kind enough face. Still, she stayed cautious. "Hello," he called. "Anybody home? Samuel around?" Sophia opened the door just enough. "He's gone to town. Who are you?" Quote, "Mitchell Ross," he said, touching his hat. "Neighbor from Clearwater Way. Just need to speak to Samuel about some strays." Sophia nodded, still holding the rifle in view. Ross chuckled. "I mean, no trouble, miss. Just didn't expect to see a lady here. Samuel keeps to himself." "I'll tell him you stopped by," she said, steadying her voice. "Much obliged," Ross said, turning his horse. "Tell him it's about 3 heifers that wandered my way." When he left, Sophia's hands finally stopped shaking, and she lowered the rifle. When Samuel returned at dusk, Sophia met him at the porch, relief softening her shoulders. She helped him unload supplies and told him about the unexpected visitor. "Mitchell's a good man," Samuel said. "You handled it right, though." "I was nervous," she admitted. "You did fine." After putting things away, Samuel pulled something from a paper bag. "Got you something?" "For me?" Sophia asked, surprised. He handed her a book of essays by Emerson. Her eyes widened with delight. "Oh, Samuel, this is wonderful." Quote, "I figured you might be tired of ranch guides," he said shyly. "This is perfect. Thank you." That evening, she read to him from her new book. Her soft voice filled the cabin, and Samuel listened like each word was being carved into the quiet spaces inside him. When she finished reading, she said, "I find comfort in these words. They remind me that who we are matters more than where we've been." Samuel looked at her across the warm glow of the fire. "You're stronger than you think, Sophia." "And you're kinder than most men I've ever known," she replied. The air grew thick between them, full of something unspoken yet undeniable. But it was the storm the next day that broke everything open. Clouds rolled in fast and dark. Wind screamed across the plains. Rain slammed against the windows as thunder shook the cabin. Sophia flinched at every boom. "You afraid of storms?" Samuel asked gently. "Doesn't everyone fear something that powerful?" she whispered. "Come here," Samuel said, offering his hand. He led her to the window, standing close enough that she could feel his warmth. "Look again," he said softly. "The storm brings change. Life. Light." She watched through his eyes and slowly began to see the beauty in the chaos. Lightning flashed, revealing the land washed clean. Wind bent the trees but didn't break them. Rain softened everything harsh. "It is beautiful," she whispered. "So are some things we fear," he said quietly. When she turned toward him, he was closer than she expected. His hand rose slowly, gently touching her cheek. "May I?" he asked, his voice rough. Sophia's answer was to lift her face to his. Their first kiss broke like lightning. Sudden, fierce, impossible to ignore. Years of loneliness melted in a single moment. His arms wrapped around her. Her hands clung to him. The storm outside raged, but inside the cabin something even stronger rose between them. When they broke apart, breathless, Samuel whispered, "I've wanted to do that since the night you opened your eyes." "And I've wanted you to," she confessed, her voice trembling. They kissed again, and again, and the storm carried their newly found love deep into the night. The storm had passed by morning, leaving the world fresh and shining. The air smelled clean, and the sky was a deep, soft blue. Sophia stepped onto the porch, her hair loose around her shoulders, and breathed in the cool morning air. Samuel joined her, his hand finding her waist in a way that felt natural now. "You see," he said, looking out at the land, "storms don't just break things. They change things." Sophia leaned against him. That night changed everything. Their days settled into a new rhythm. They worked together, cooked together, talked late into the evenings, and grew closer with each passing sunrise. Sophia felt her heart healing in a way she had never expected when she first collapsed at his gate. Samuel, who had lived in silence for years, now lived with laughter, conversation, and the warmth of another soul close to his own. One morning, Samuel said he needed to ride into Hollow Creek for supplies. This time, Sophia rode behind him on his horse. The trip felt like a small step into a new life. Hollow Creek was a small but growing town. Stores lined the main street. People greeted Samuel by name. When he introduced Sophia as Miss Sophia Miller, staying at his ranch while recovering from illness, every woman in town exchanged knowing looks. Every man nodded politely, but looked curious. At the general store, the shopkeeper's wife, Martha Jenkins, pulled Sophia aside. "It's good to see Samuel smiling," she said warmly. "He's a good man. I'm glad he's found someone to care for." Sophia blushed. "We're just—" Martha smiled like she already knew the truth. "Sometimes the heart knows before the mind does, dear." Later, Samuel took Sophia to meet the mayor, Jeremiah Powell. They spoke about starting a school in town. Powell listened carefully as Sophia explained her experience. When she told him why she left Blackwater, he nodded sadly. "I've heard bad things about Grayson," he said. "You're safer far away from that place." Samuel added, "Hollow Creek needs a teacher, and we'd be lucky to have her." Mayor Powell promised to speak with the town council. As they rode home, Samuel was quiet. Finally, he said, "Sophia, if the town offers you the school, would you want to stay?" Quote. She looked at him, her heart pounding. "Stay here, with you." He stopped the horse, turned to her. His eyes were serious, steady, full of emotion he didn't try to hide. "I know it's soon," he said softly, "but I don't want you to leave. I want a life with you, Sophia, if you want that too." Her breath caught. "Yes, Samuel," she whispered. "I want that more than anything." He helped her down from the horse, pulled her close, and kissed her gently. "Then stay with me, not as a guest. As the woman I love." "I love you too," she said, smiling through tears. "I think I loved you from the moment you carried me inside that night." 2 weeks later, they were married in Hollow Creek's small church. Martha Jenkins helped sew a simple blue dress for Sophia. Samuel wore his best shirt. Their neighbors filled the pews, eager to witness the union everyone already felt was meant to be. When the mayor said, "You may kiss your bride," Samuel kissed her with tenderness and pride. The whole town cheered. Soon after, the schoolhouse project was approved. Samuel donated timber. Families helped build it. And once autumn came, Sophia Ward stepped into her new classroom as the first schoolteacher in Hollow Creek. Their home grew warmer and happier with each passing season. Samuel expanded the ranch. Sophia taught children from miles around. The two of them built a life filled with love, laughter, and peace. But the greatest joy came one winter evening when Sophia placed Samuel's hand on her stomach and whispered, "We're going to have a child." He froze. Then tears filled his eyes. "A baby? Our baby?" Quote. "Yes, Samuel," she said. "Our family is growing." When their daughter, Elizabeth Rose, was born the next summer, Samuel held her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. "She's perfect," he whispered, "just like her mama." Life carried on in sweet, steady waves. They built more rooms on the house as their family grew. They took trips into town together. Sophia taught dozens of children over the years, and the town often said Hollow Creek Schoolhouse had more heart than any other in the territory. On the 1-year anniversary of the day Sophia collapsed at Samuel's gate, they stood together in that same spot. Samuel held little Elizabeth in his arms as the evening sun dipped low. "You ever think about how different things might have been," Samuel murmured, "if you hadn't fallen right here?" "No," Sophia said softly, laying her hand over his. "Because I believe I was meant to find you, meant to find this life." He kissed her forehead. "I love you, Sophia Ward." "And I love you," she whispered, leaning into him as their daughter slept soundly in his arms. The sky glowed the same warm color it had the night their paths crossed. Only this time, Sophia was not running, she was home.